identifying chords, secants, and tangents of a circle. Okay, so we're still working on circles. Here's our diagram of a circle, and now we have 3 new definitions. One of them's not terribly new. Chord, we've already dealt with quite a few times this week. So chord just has, it's a line that's in the circle, and it's going from side to side like this one, but it's not going through the center. So this line here goes side to side, but that is a diameter because it goes through the center. So we don't want diameter. We only want chord when we're naming a chord. So just keep in mind it has to go from side to side, but not through the center. So this is actually another chord here. This one, PW. Generally on these geometry topics, there's more than one answer, especially when we're naming things. All right. And then secant, because that's another one of the words in the title there. So we have secant and tangent. So these ones are brand new. So if you scroll down, and anytime that you have a word here, I need to click on the cursor. You can always click on the blue underlined word. It will give you the definition. So it tells you exactly what it is. So a secant it's basically a chord, but it continues to go through the circle. So it doesn't just stop. So this one, when I went through and I did this point to point here, that's a chord. And then I went point to point. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't pointing out that it kept going. So if we pay attention to the whole line here, it keeps going. We call this a secant because it's a line that's going through. It's not just a line segment. And then we also have tangent. And again, you can click on tangent here. So, and these probably will be clickable words on the next page too. But we should make sure we go through and understand what they are. So a tangent is a line that touches the circle at only one point. So it doesn't enter the circle. It just touches the circle at one point, and it's going right past it. And it can be on any part of the circle here. They're just showing you ones that are on top for whatever reason. And then there's also this property that goes with it where it's perpendicular. So if we draw a radii to the tangent where it's touching the circle, that's going to be perpendicular to the tangent. So I'm going to close that. Okay, so now that we have our definitions, let's go ahead and click start here. All right, so the first one, it says give a tangent to the circle. So remember, a tangent doesn't actually enter the circle. So we don't want any of these lines that are going through the circle or in the circle. We want this one that's outside of the circle. And it's touching the circle at one point. So it basically kind of grazes the circle. That's the idea. And then we just name it. A line you have to name with at least 2 points. So we can call this one QS. You could call it QW, WS, SW, SQ. As long as it's one of these 3 points that's on the line, you just use 2 of them, and that's the name of the line. All right. So let's give a secant. So a secant does go through. Remember, that's the definition. And these are all clickable, again, like I said. So a secant goes right through the circle, but it keeps going. So it's not just a segment that goes from side to side, but it keeps going. It has these arrows on it. So this line here that I just made red is a secant. So I'm going to clear this out so we can see the letters. So we need 2 points on it. So we have P, W, and VT. I can use any 2 of those points. Doesn't matter which 2 I choose. So you can go the ones that are farther out, like P and T. So you have P all the way at the top here and T all the way at the bottom. Or you could go TV, VT. As long as it's 2 points within that line, it's perfectly fine. Okay, last one here, give a chord. So a chord, remember, goes from side to side. It doesn't continue out. And it can't go through the center. So we don't want this one here that I'm highlighting right now. This is a diameter. So we don't want that one because that one's it's basically a special chord. So we can use this one here that's VU. I don't believe, because this, if we went UV and we ignored the rest of it, you might be able to use, in fact, I'm going to try it out real quick just to see, but I don't know if it'll let us use WV. Because technically that's part of our secant. So let's see if it'll let me use it. It did. It let me use it. Okay. So I could have used WU also, but it will let me use this one as long as this one has to be WV or VW. You can't use P or T because that would mean that it's part of the secant. It's outside of the circle at that point. Chord has to be in the circle. Okay. So we have the next one here. We need a secant, so we want a line that's going through the circle like this. So again, we can name it any two letters that are on that line. So I can go RQ. We can use these two because it's the line RQ, and line means it keeps going. So even though Q is on the circle and R is outside the circle, it's still part of the secant. Okay, so let's give the chord. And last time we used the piece of the secant that was in the circle, but we can use a different one this time. Let's go ahead and use this smaller one here, PQ. And again, you can say PQ or you could say QP. Doesn't necessarily matter which way you go on that one as long as it's the 2 points. And then giving a tangent. So remember, a tangent, it's not in the circle. So we want the line that's grazing the circle. It's just going past it at 1 point. And we're going to grab 2 points from that line. So I'm going to go across here. So here's my tangent. So I can say ST, TW, WT, TS, any 2 letters, not a big deal. So I'm going to go with WT and check. All right, one more. Okay, so we're going to do a chord. So let's see, we can do, here's a chord and here's another chord. So we can do either one of these two. Let's go, I'm going to go with IE. So instead of EI, I went backwards and went IE. All right, a secant, so that goes through the circle. So it's the whole line here like this. So this is, it's barely going through the circle, but it is going through the circle. So I can grab any 2 points I want. I'm going to go with the H. I'm just going to go with the farthest 2 points on either side. And then we have our tangent. So remember, a tangent does not go through the circle. Basically grazes the circle at 1 point there. So we can label this EF, FE, EK, KE. Again, any 2 points, we just grab them. Let's go with KE and check. All right, perfect. Finish that one. Yay.